Hello, welcome back to Cambridge Also Sound. I'm still Nathan, and this is a Audi RSQ8 in a very, very warm barn because it's early August in the UK and we're experiencing some rather strange temperatures. Quite an array of speakers and boxes in front of the car. One of the most common questions that I get asked is, what's the best speaker? And I quite flippantly sometimes reply, the one that fits. And I thought that was a kind of fitting message for this video because there's loads of speaker brands out there, loads of different speaker sizes, they're all rated for different powers, etc. But if it doesn't fit in the car, it's a little bit pointless. And that's why I really like the Audio-Tech Fisher Compose range, because they've got a size and a fitment that fits pretty much most cars, all in one range. Yes, you can pick from one brand, maybe Focal, maybe one brand from Audison, one brand from Hertz, but if you kind of want everything to match and everything to work optimally with the amplifier, which these are all tuned to do, then it's a great kind of tool to have in your back pocket to be able to kind of fit to a car like this. And I'll show you around it in a minute, but long story short, on this car, this was supposed to come into us last year. No idea why. We were talking with the customer, it was booked in, and then it just never really showed up. I thought, okay, I've lost that job. Lo and behold, then he contacts us a few weeks ago. It's been to somewhere else to have the amplifiers fitted, and it sounded terrible. The customer wasn't happy with it. He sent it into us with the brief initially just to replace all the speakers and retune the system. Plugged into the amplifier when it first turned up, could see that it was a mess. And what he'd asked for in terms of a speaker change, I thought we could massively improve upon. I said at the beginning this was going to be a short video. I've got a feeling it's not going to be. We've got three sources in this car. So we've got CarPlay, we've got a high-res Bluetooth connection, and then we've got an even higher res compressionless wired connection with coax. So he's got a FiO digital player. He can either play that with Bluetooth into the Bluetooth card that's installed in the amplifier, or you can plug it in and then you're not getting any Bluetooth compression at all, and that's going straight into the coax input in the amplifier. Great looking car. I was going to say in the intro as well, this has got two sound systems. The first one being a 4-litre V8 with a crazy loud exhaust on it. Maybe I'll get a clip of the car starting up and moving around or revving, not crazy revving, don't worry customer. But yeah, it's an extremely loud car, but it's also now got a sound system that matches that inside the car. Let me show you around it. Setup in this car, it's not the most straightforward to integrate to it, which the other company, to their credit, has done a decent job of. There's a head unit behind the dash that's got a load of outputs. There's then an amplifier, a factory amplifier that sits behind the rear seats that's got another load of outputs. And someone has customized a Audio-Tech Fisher loom to take all of the front inputs, all of those amplified inputs from the factory amplifier behind the seat, and put them into the Helix V18 amplifier that's in the boot. Yeah, that's right, I did say V18. They've got the V8, the V12 and the V18, the 18 channel big bad boy that sits at the top of the range, that's perfect for integrating all the speakers in this kind of car. So I think what I'll do is actually cut to some video of the installation, because that shows you behind the speaker grills and behind the door cards. And then we'll come back and I'll give you a quick overview again of anything I missed in that video. So what we've got in the front is, excuse the reflections, underneath the factory grill, pop that off and you've got quite a small tweeter, but then a massive cavity behind it. That's because in some cars you can get the Bang Olufsen tweeters that kind of raise up out the dash. This hasn't got those, but obviously it's then still got that massive cavity there. What that means is that on this side, I've already installed it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, well, that's what we'll do with this one. That's a 3-inch mid-range. And it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video about the best speaker is often the one that fits. It doesn't matter how good a speaker is if you can't fit it into the location, or if you've got to completely butcher the car, which obviously we're not going to do in this car. you can't use it. So the best one is the one that fits, and this is certainly one that fits very nicely. If I just put that on wide view, screwed down to the existing point that I think then that pod would have been screwed to, and then we've just modified this upper section a little bit, because then that's what the grill clips into. That's going to be a brilliant location. Mid-ranges at the front corners of the dash is ideal. Range Rovers have got it, Teslas have got it at the front, and now this Audi has, because the original location for the mid-range, if then I open this side, so we've already started doing sound deadening. We've got to do some more sound deadening to this actual enclosure, but this is a good and a bad thing, because it's great having an enclosure, because it means all that resonance that the speaker's creating is contained. It's not going to be vibrating through the door, vibrating all these motors. So this is a better environment for a mid-bass. This is not a good environment for a mid-range, this low down. This mid-range ideally wants to be up on the door here somewhere. That's a really poor location, in my opinion, for a mid-range. But that's where Audi have put it. So we might still run these. I've got some speakers, some upgrade speakers that we can put here if I feel that the mid-bass needs a bit of help, just to raise the kind of like the frequency output before we then hand off to the 3 inches that are going to be on the dash. So that's the dash sorted, the mid-range, the mid-bass. Pillars we've got out of the car at the moment, but we are putting some fairly nice high-end tweeters up on those pillars. I'll show you those later. And then it's also got these effect speakers, these little 2-inch effect speakers that initially the customer was saying he wanted to replace, but now we've changed the configuration of the system to have the mid-ranges on the dash. Again, I might wire these up. We've actually got enough channels on the amplifier, and there's already the good thing about this car is every speaker's individually powered and driven from the amplifier, so there's no worry about passive crossovers. So again, we might still use those as a effect speaker, but we'll see. So mid-bass is going in the door. Again, some quite high-end, nice mid-basses going in there. In the rear, you've got, which we've already installed, a 6.5 mid-bass. This isn't an enclosure. This just plays straight into the door cavity. So we modelled all of these on the laptop before we bought them, and this new Helix i5 mid-bass performed the best when it was kind of playing into a door cavity. There's then actually some tweeters on the B pillar behind these grills. I've actually taken the, a bit dark, I've taken the grill off that side so you can see the tweeter there. So that's an interesting position for those, not seen that before. And actually, considering where that is, if that seat's in your driving position, that's so close to your ear. So we'll have to timeline and treat that one with respect when we come to EQing it, so that doesn't just pull all the soundstage down to your right ear. But yeah, that's the rear door mid bass. And then in the rear, again, it's probably going to be quite dark, but there's some effect speakers up in the roof. Those are 4-inch speakers either side, so we're going to replace those as well. So that's a quick overview of what's in the car. I'll lay all the speakers out shortly on the table and give you an overview of what's going into it. A lot of boxes, including one enormous box, we'll get onto this later. I think you know what that is. First of all, a lovely wooden box. Must mean they're expensive, which they are. But price aside, again, when you model all of these, and I've used this phrase modeling in different videos, basically there's software that you can get. You put all of the parameters of these speakers, which are available online. Any decent speaker brand will have the TS parameters available for you to model, basically. So you can put it into software, tell it what kind of environment it's playing in this case, an enclosure in the door, which we filled with water, and it came out at 5.5 litres of airspace or water space. Tell the software what the airspace is, and then put all the TS parameters of these, of the i7s, of the i5s, of Audison speakers, of Hertz speakers, and it shows you how they'll play in the car. If there'll be a peak at a certain frequency, how far the bass extension will go. Also tell it what power the amplifier or what power the speaker's getting from the amplifier, and it will show you what the output is likely to be probably fairly accurate as well, bearing in mind how good software is these days. And these came out the best in those 5.5 litres enclosures that showed a decent gain below 70 to 80 hertz. So these will play down to kind of 60 hertz with more authority than the i7s and the i5s would. That's why we went for these particular ones in the front enclosures. And then in the rear doors, like I showed you, we had the i5s, because as much as I'd like to sell another set of Brax speakers, because they're nice and expensive, they're fancy, they're hopefully going to look good on Instagram, and yes, we make a little bit of margin on the speakers. Those, for my money and from what I modelled, weren't the best speaker for that rear door. So the customer said, we're going to put these in the front and rear. And I said, no, let's go for the i5s in the rear. A, it saves a little bit of money. B, according to the modelling, they actually perform better in that door environment. So let me just get these out and show you. Probably take some nicer pictures later, but I mean, a speaker's a speaker as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the looks of it. But it's more about the weight of the spider, the weight of the cone, how stiff the roll is, what the performance of the voice core is going to be. So yeah, how all those things add up to how it actually plays and what frequencies it hits in the car. So looking forward to getting those in. We've then got just as nice a box, and I've already taken a bit of the packaging out so I can grab this, but then these are the ML28 Pros. Lovely grille, which is important because these are going to be on display. So it's not all about the visuals of it, but when you come to putting a speaker on a pillar, I think you do need a nice looking speaker as well, because if you look at it and it looks cheap and plastic, psychologically you're probably going to be thinking that it's not as good as another speaker you can get with a nicer grille, for instance. But yeah, these look the part, they look the money, but having heard them in several cars as well, they also sound fantastic. So again, looking forward to getting those in. They're going to go on the A pillars. These are the little i7 tweeters. In comparison to those, they look rubbish. Just anyone in general. You showed them these two tweeters, people are going to think these are a joke. These are tiny, they play incredibly well, incredibly detailed. They've got the same technology and the same coatings on the actual dome there as these Brax tweeters. So there's a lot of R&D, a lot of technology and design that's gone into these to make them sound great. It's just they do look a bit small and cheap. They're not cheap, they're a £350 tweeter, and they sound fantastic. And they fit in places that you just couldn't fit those. So everything's got its purpose and its kind of intended use case. And these are to go into the B pillars to replace those tweeters that I showed you. This is what we've put on the dash. So this has replaced, hang on, let me just grab it. This has replaced the factory Audi tweeter that was on the dash. So this would have probably played down to 3,500 hertz if you're lucky. I didn't actually model the standard factory system because it already had an amplifier in it when it came to us. But I'd be surprised if you could push those very low at all. This we're going to be playing down to, I don't know, we'll see when it's in the car, but 250, 300 hertz. You're going to pick up a lot more vocal range, a lot more depth. It's going to bring the soundstage much higher. So all day long, I would rather have a mid-range on the dash than a tweeter. But then obviously we need to do the pillar build to put the tweeters somewhere. These i5s, they're great. Not that I'm trying to do a sales pitch, but they come with all kinds of adapters. They come with 2 different types of adapters that you can snap off. So then it gives you almost all the bolt points you'd ever need to fit them. They also come with the inlays. So the Audi plugs are going to fit straight into those, which is handy because those wires up on the dash are so short. I don't think we could have spliced another plug into those. It was only just long enough for me to get them into these without stripping all the dash apart. So very clever kind of thinking that's gone into this. Looking forward to hearing it. i7 4-inch, we've used these a few times. To be honest, I've used the i3s a lot more, so i7, looking forward to using these again. Got a very clever magnet system, something that's not really highlighted on the website, I think. You look at them and you think, well, they look fairly similar to the i3 and the specs are fairly similar. This has got what they call a push-pull neodymium magnet, so it doesn't actually have a magnetic field because they're kind of opposing each other. So it means you can put it, have I got anything metal? Let me just get the i3 speaker, which I've got at the back. So this is the i3, similar looking, but a much bigger magnet, and turns out that other bit wasn't actually magnetic. There we go. So this sticks onto that and I'm not holding it. So that's the force of the magnet holding it on, which if you're in a door environment and that's backing up to a bit of metal, will have an effect on how the speaker plays because it's creating a different magnetic field. This does not. I can't. There's no magnetic force. I'm not going to let go of it because I'm going to drop a £350 speaker. But that's the difference between the i7 and the i3. Just turn it over and show you. So bigger magnet, slightly shorter mounting depth as well. So if you are really tight on space, the i7 is going to help you out there. So yeah, a bit of a overview of the speakers that are going into the car. Director is hiding at the back there. That's going to be up the front, controlling the system. Really looking forward to getting this in and wrapped as well. We'll show you that in a minute. Anyway, onwards. Right, so just to ram that point home and to cover anything I missed, if it wasn't for putting these mid-ranges up on the dash behind those grills, perfect location for them, the mid-ranges in this car are down here, really low in the door. You've got your mid-bass that's here, but then you've also got a little mid-range, as you saw behind the door card, which is really low for a mid-range. That's going to pull your soundstage down. That's probably why it's got extra effect speakers up on the A-pillar that we're not using. Oh, and that's probably your first view of the A-pillars with the tweeters in. I'll give you a slightly closer up view of those. Excuse these wires, we didn't fit these. I think this is for some kind of in-car camera system that wasn't in when it came into us, but I'm just going to leave those there. Right, let's have another quick look around it. Door cards are on, obviously. We then did put the i3 in the lower door just to help out with a little bit of mid-range. It's only playing quite a small frequency range. Then sitting in the passenger seat, there we go, there's the A-pillar that we made, wrapped in Milano, which is an Alcantara type material, with the Brax tweeter. Centre speakers, there's a mid-range and a tweeter behind that grille, and then obviously on the driver's side you've got the other A-pillar, the other Brax, and the other mid-range up the front. While we're in here, but this is where we put the director, it's kind of hidden. It's in a little 3D printed adapter that's then been wrapped. It actually sits just perfectly underneath. It's not being fouled by that. And it means that with your arm just sitting on there, you've just got the top of the dial that you can rotate for your sub bass, or if you're on one of your digital inputs, you've got this is then your master volume control. It sounds complicated when I'm talking about all these inputs, but it actually works completely seamlessly, and I'll try and get a video of that separately when I'm not talking into the camera, so I need the microphone channel. Right, so I'm just going to use my DSLR camera so I can show you the phone and the iPad set up in front of me. Car's off at the moment, and although I probably made it sound quite confusing when I was chatting about the different sources before, I just wanted to show you how it works in reality and how it's pretty seamless. So the phone is going to connect to CarPlay when I turn the ignition on. This iPad is going to take the place of the customer's FiO digital player. So I've got that connected to the Bluetooth of the amplifier, so the Bluetooth card that's in that V18 amplifier, and then I've also got a USB that I can plug into the bottom of it through this converter that converts it to coax. In reality, he's not going to have this converter here, he's just going to plug directly into that coax connection, but I don't have a digital player, so we'll use the iPad. So let's turn the ignition on. Car wakes up and it will connect to my iPhone that's slightly overexposed on the screen, but this will start playing, and then we've got control with the Audi volume, as I'll show you. And there we go, my phone is, after about 20 seconds or so, connected to the CarPlay of the car, and it's about to start playing music. There we go. And I can use the volume dial in the Audi to reduce it, increase it, and obviously I've got sub control over the system as global. So that's how you would use the car on a daily basis. Just jump into it, your phone connects, happy days. I'm not even going to press pause on this. What I'm going to do is just press play on this, because this is connected to the RSQ8. There we go, I just had to refocus it, but the iPad is connected to RSQ8. So the phone is still playing, you can still hear music in the background. I'm not going to stop that at all. What I'm going to do is just literally press play on the iPad. And there we go, it's automatically cut over. So this will still keep playing in the background. You can pause it, do what you want, or if that's, imagine that's the radio playing. We're now working on the Bluetooth. This is directly from the digital player, in this case the iPad, and now I've got volume control on here. So you can turn it down, all the way down or all the way up on this. What I'll then do is plug in the USB and the output switches to digital, and now on here you've got digital volume. Pause it, and after 2 or 3 seconds it will connect back to the CarPlay. There we go, and then you've got volume control on there again. So actually very seamless. CarPlay will automatically play. Bluetooth has got the next priority, and the top priority is the digital. So even if you left a different device playing Bluetooth, the digital would always have priority. So once you plug into that coax connection, that's the one that's gonna play over everything else. Hope that makes sense. Actually very simple in reality. I just made it sound complicated. Rear door, you would have seen behind these as well, there's a mid bass, and there's actually a tweeter behind this grille. Interestingly, from the factory, that was actually on the same channel for all of the speakers in the car, and for how everything was wired actively. This mid bass and this tweeter was actually wired on the same channel, so we've separated those. There was 2 spare channels on the V18 amplifier, so that's now active, and that means we can time align that compared to that, because that's awfully close to where your head is. So you want to have different time alignment on this compared to the rear door speaker. So that was quite important. And then we get round to the boot. There's a bit of a surprise in the boot. So when it came to us, it had these 3 Rockwood Fosgate subs in the back, and there's 2 Rockwood Fosgate amplifiers under there, along with the V18 amplifier under the floor. The box that they were in, although constructed nicely and sealed, and it sounded very bassy, all there was really is bass, because like I said, the system was very poorly set up. But it didn't fit in the boot. It was a square box, it was too far forwards, the luggage cover didn't close. So he asked us to build a new box. So this is actually, if I tilt this seat down, one-handed. So this is now built with a slanted back. So it fits directly or much closer to the back of those seats. That means he can have his seats all the way leant back and all the way pushed back, which he couldn't before because the box was fouling them. And it also means that his luggage cover, when you close the boot, you're not going to see it when the boot closes. And there we go. And that was the bit that was fouling it. You see there's a little plastic bit there. That was hitting the sub box as well. So it meant he couldn't use his automated luggage cover. But now we can, because we've designed the box and the vanity panel, which is something we haven't really done. So this is a bit of a new one for us, this vanity panel with some LED lighting. Hope you like it. I'm sure it's a Marmite thing. Some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. But I thought, why not? Let's just make a little something of it. And you've got the RSQ8 logo there as well. But it fits. You've got more boot room than he did before, because, like I say, the old box was actually coming out to about this line. So we've saved him some space because we've used that airspace in the angle behind the seats, and we've just made it look a little bit smarter and a little bit kind of showier. The staggered 3, or the kind of staggered subwoofers wasn't really a visual thing. It's because they're too wide to fit across the boot. So that's just what we ended up with. Sounds extremely loud and bassy. I'll put that seat up in a minute. Same on this side with the rear speakers. And there we go, the conductors or the director's woken up now so you can see it. If you do need to access more functions, you can just lift that up and touch it, but otherwise it's very simple. And it's normally on this screen. So it's very simple just to adjust your main volume, or you can just touch that little dial there. Hidden, there you go. So it's normally on, this is a touch screen, which is nice. But you can adjust your auxiliary input level, and then if you just touch that bottom one, that's then your sub level. And you can just have your kind of finger on the top of it there, and it works really nicely. Let's just show you the pillars from this side. So that's an overview of the system. Sounds phenomenal. Looks, I'm not going to say phenomenal, but I'm quite happy with how it looks. Certainly looks better than it did before with the oddly shaped box in the boot. Whether or not he likes the vanity panel or not, I'm not sure. But this actually pops on and off. I'll show you that as well. Let me go hands-free. There you go. You're not having to be subjected to my motion sickness kind of filming. This, with just a sharp tug, pops off, and there's a quick connector just there for the LEDs. So that's 2 seconds to take the vanity panel out. The sub box is then, it's got screws, little thumb turn M8 bolts that go through brackets into the back of the side of the box, which you can access through the side. So, and then there's these little triangular things that are actually kind of little push fit things. I think they're for like cabinetry, so you can have wooden panels on things without being able to see the fixings from the front. They work really well. Where's the, can you see that? The little purple thing on the back. That's the male end that goes into those. And then this just fits left side first, right side. Don't forget to do your lights up. Or if you don't like the lights, I guess you don't have to have them plugged in, but we did it with just an LED strip, simple one that I think looks quite smart. Line it up and just give it a tap. Nice and simple, get your handprints off the suede. And there we go. Simple. Right, so I hope that's been useful, not too boring, not too long, but I think we've got a fairly good package for these cars now. So whether or not you want the 3 subwoofers in the boot, or 1 subwoofer, or 2 subwoofers, or 0 subwoofers, because I didn't show you because it's hidden under the floor, there is actually a factory subwoofer that's wired in under that floor as well. It's a dual voice coil 2 ohm subwoofer, and that's running off the V18 as well. So if he does want to remove that big sub box, because like I said, we made it removable, pop the vanity panel off, undo the screw terminals, and with probably the help of your mate, because it's quite heavy, but take it out. You've still got some sub bass, because it's still got the Audi subwoofer under the floor, which performs pretty good, actually. Certainly it's not going to make your hair to kind of tingle and give you the eye kind of wobbling bass that the 3 subwoofers are going to do, but it does an admirable job. And you always want a subwoofer in a system if you can have one. It's better than what the door speakers can do. So it's actually got 4 subwoofers in this car, but I've got them set so 3 play or 1 play, they're not playing all together kind of thing. But yeah, we've got a good package for this car now. So we're replacing the tweeters for those mid-ranges up on the dash and making the A-pillars. Whether or not it's the Brax tweeters or not, you could go for some slightly cheaper tweeters. That's almost like the flagship system. We could just do a straight speaker replacement, and like you saw in that behind the scenes video, just replace the tweeter and replace the mid-range, tune it as best we can. It's still going to be a big improvement on what the Bang Olufsen system sounds like, but this is kind of your, I'm not going to say reference level because I don't think I'm in that league, but this is like the top level really in terms of then moving speakers around. I don't think there's much benefit to putting mid-ranges on the pillars as well, because you've already got them in that corner location, so that's a really good place for them. I'm going to shut up now. They all cheer. I will take a video from inside the car with it playing, but I'm going to put that in a different video, and with the music playing it's going to get all kinds of copyright strikes, but that's fine. At least you can listen to it. Bear in mind it's on an iPhone, so use some headphones, but it's not the world's greatest microphone. Recently there was an Audio Tech Fisher training day in the UK. Fantastic, really useful, informative day. There was some little, even though I've used the software for quite a while and I feel I'm advanced-ish in terms of my understanding of it, there was definitely some gems that was like, oh, I didn't know how to do that, or oh, that's a better way of doing that. So very useful. But I think it highlighted, because there was a lot of new people on the course that are coming to the Audio Tech Fisher brand as an installer. And I think it highlighted just how complicated the Audio Tech Fisher software actually is. And this install also highlighted it from the company that had tried to set it up before, hadn't done anything with the gain structure on the amplifier. So like I said, when it came in, all you could really hear was sub bass. There was just no mid-range, no mid-bass, no treble, nothing at all. It was just sub bass and a tiny little bit of vocal if you could concentrate on it. Even turning the subs down, it didn't really balance itself out at all. So it does take quite a lot of time and knowledge and understanding of how factory systems work, how to de-equalize those factory systems, and then how to tune it to get the maximum potential from it. Because there's an awful lot of money's worth of stuff gone into this. And there was an awful lot of money's worth of stuff already in it. And for it to actually sound worse than the factory system was a bit inexcusable from the company that had put it in beforehand. Thanks for watching this bit. I'm going to say goodbye now. If you like what we do, give us a follow. If you're interested in what we do, drop us a line on audio@cambridgeautosound.com, or the phone number will be in the description or on our website. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.